Kidd, and I'll be the interviewee.
I'm Lindsay McNally, and this first one, I'll be the interviewer. I'll be interviewing Miss Kidd. So I am the student that's majoring in political science, and Chloe is the professional campaign manager.
Yes.
Okay, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay. Well, thank you for meeting with me today. I'm a student at EKU, your alma mater. Go Colonels!
Yes.
And I'm, yeah, I'm majoring in political science there at EKU, and I thought it would be interesting to get a perspective of a seasoned, a highly successful campaign manager like yourself. And I've seen your work in recent campaigns back in the primary elections, and I admire the way your style and your messaging. You're a very positive, upbeat type of campaign manager, and I really like that. So I appreciate the time you've taken to talk to me today. Okay, so I'm going to ask you a few questions, and you know, we can talk about them in more in depth or however you want to do that.
Okay.
So my first question for you is it, and do you like to be, is it okay if I say Miss Kidd or do you prefer Chloe?
This kid's fine.
Okay. So, Miss Kidd, moving from like local elections to big elections, how does a candidate's daily life change? Like when they step up from like city council, and then to something, bigger, I guess, like the United States Senate, how does that candidate's daily life change?
So I would say that the daily life changes because there's a lot more pressure. When you're
Mm,
working for the US Senate, it's a lot more like there's so many people compared to if you're running on a city council where there's a lot less people and it's more smaller and close knit and it's more community based. I think US Senate is a lot less than that, you know?
yeah. It's, do you think it's less personal than it
Yeah.
is city council? Yeah. I hate to say it like that, but it does feel that way. Sometimes it feels like when you see those things that come in the mail, it's like, who is this guy? He
Yeah.
wants my vote. I don't never seen him before in my life.
Mhm.
But like if your neighbor knocked on your door and said whatever, then that might be a little different. Okay. So when it comes to money and political parties and running a campaign in a local race, like city council, let's say, can you actually win just by knocking on doors, or do you need a lot of money in something like a local race?
Honestly, I would say you can definitely win by knocking on doors. I think the most important thing about running is community and getting to know people. And when you go around knocking on doors, you're actually sitting down with these people. You're talking to them for maybe hours at a time. So it's good to just like actually form those connections and then they know who you are and know what you stand for and they're more likely to vote for you than a money-based campaign.
So, how does a candidate handle if they knock on a door and someone is like, "Sorry, I'm voting for, Joe Smith down the road." How have you seen your candidates handle that situation?
Sometimes we'll try to talk to them more, but sometimes people are just like, no, no, no. And then you just have to keep going and move forward with that. Because sometimes you're not going to get
Oh,
people, you're going to get people who are stubborn and who do not want to hear from you at all, which is okay.
mm.
You just got to keep,
Yeah, you can't win them all, can you?
yeah, no, you can't.
um, okay, so how do you handle the media when a candidate makes a mistake or gets bad press? And that could be, honestly, it could be both sides. Let's say that you're the campaign manager for this this person and their opponent does something wrong. Or let's say that you're the campaign manager for this person and that person does something wrong politically or personally. Give me an example of how you would handle that, or like how, yeah, what you would do with your person in that type of situation if they got bad press or they made a mistake in public.
I think I would talk to them and let them know that they're human and we all make mistakes. And when you're on that type of place where there's so many people watching you and listening to you and picking at you, it can be really hard. But I would say that we can make a statement, but don't put so much pressure on yourself because we all do that. And there's some things will go wrong and people will disagree.
Has that ever happened in a campaign that you have managed?
Yes, it happens
Yeah.
a lot. And I just really want to let them know, like, don't be too hard on yourself, because you can't please everyone.
True. And the candidate has to have pretty thick skin to be in that.
For
That
sure.
might even be like the first like rule.
Yeah.
Before you're allowed to run for any office, you let me check your skin. It better be thick because you're
Oh,
not
for
getting in.
sure.
Yeah. Um, Last question. So advice. If me as the student, if I want to run for local office, like right when I graduate, here in just a few weeks, what's the first thing that I should do?
I would say you need to network as much as possible, get to know as many people as possible, just form these connections, just go knocking at city councils, go to your local district offices, like anything you can do, just getting people to know your name and your face. And I feel like that works the most. That opens the most doors for you.
Why do you think that's important?
I think people like to be known and be close. And I think when you really get to know somebody and you kind of know their character and who they are, more people are gonna like want you, they might call you out and ask you to do a certain job. You might get emails like you never know what could happen.
True. Yeah, you never know where a conversation can lead when
Yeah,
it comes to that type of thing.
for sure.
Okay, well, is there anything else that I didn't mention that you could give me some good advice?
Um, I think you've hit most of them, but I would say just never keep, never give up and keep trying. And just always make sure to like keep yourself like in good headspace and get to know people and you'll get it.
Yeah, that is good. That's something we do forget is like our mental health when it comes to that kind of stuff because we're hard on ourselves or even as students. Like you went to EKU and graduated
Yeah.
and you you some as a student, even as a professional, I feel like we all have that times in our life where we're like really hard on ourselves. So
Yeah. And yeah, don't be too hard on yourself and no, you can do it.
thank you. Okay. All right. Well, is this supposed to be a two-part thing?
Uh-huh. Hello, Miss McNally. Thank you so much
Hey.
for meeting with me today and taking
Oh,
the time out of your busy schedule. I know that there's a lot going on and I really appreciate it.
you're welcome. I'm happy to.
Yeah. Okay, so are you ready for the first question?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. So my first question I have for you today is how important is fundraising in a campaign?
Well, that's a great question because it's a loaded question and
Yeah.
it depends really on the campaign size and it depends on where you're campaigning. So it depends on the size of the race, is what I meant on size. In a small local election like city council, money matters, but you can make up for a small budget by just knocking on doors. But in a bigger campaign like with US Senate, you're going to need to raise some funds,
Yeah.
and that's what you need a campaign manager for. Is that's something that I help orchestrate, is those fundraisers. So you've probably heard about people having galas or fundraisers or things like that, haven't you?
Yes.
So yeah, that what they're doing is they're raising funds to have the campaign, and what that means is because some people are like, okay, well, what does it do? Well, here's what it does. It pays the people that work for you to campaign for you. It pays for the signs. It pays for the ads. It pays for the radio commercials. So all the things that you see, the mail you get in the
Yeah.
mail, the lovely 500,000 letters you get begging for votes. That's what campaign money pays for. And imagine a small town. Do you really need that?
Yeah, not
Probably,
really.
probably not. You're right. It means more to somebody if you knocked on the door
Mhm.
than if you mailed them. Honestly, where I live, I don't know where you live, but I live in a small town. And if my neighbor who was running for judge executive sent me um, a flyer in the mail asking for his vote instead of walking over here and knocking on the door, I'd probably be like, "What are you doing?
Yeah,
Get over
exactly.
here." Yeah, let's sit on the porch after work. Like, what are you, why are you sending me mail? So, thinking about like that. Yeah. So at a higher level, like a more like a Senate level or a more national level, candidates do spend hours every day sitting in a room making phone calls just to ask for donations,
Yeah.
but it's not really necessary in a smaller campaign. So,
Okay. Okay. Thank you for that.
yeah, you're welcome.
Okay. My second question is, what role does social media play in a campaign?
So, social media is a very useful tool. It's it it can make you or break you, honestly. So you can use it for different things based on your budget. Most platforms are free, so that's an easy thing to use if you have a local election like city council or fiscal court, things like that, magistrates, that type of thing. It's a lifesaver because,
Yeah.
like I said, it's free or very cheap to use. It's how a candidate can share events, talk directly to their voters, post videos of themselves, that type of thing. But for bigger, like statewide campaigns and even national campaigns, they professionalize those tools in social media. So you've seen them like commercials,
Yeah.
you know, or you'll be playing your favorite Candy Crush game, and an ad comes on for somebody running for U.S. Senate.
Yes.
That's where their social media comes into play,
Mhm.
and that's where they pay for that type of thing too. So the biggest challenger as a challenge as a manager is balancing those, like we call them organic posts. We want it to look like the person's going live and just making up whatever they're saying, but I assure you they have been planned out, practiced, rehearsed, carefully, orchestrated. It's not just off the cuff type of thing, because if you go Facebook Live or any type of live setting where you're recording yourself, there's always a possibility to mess up. You
Yeah.
might say something. You might say, and guess what? Once it's out there, it's out there. You can't undo it.
Yeah.
So, you know, it like I said, it can make you or break you, because you might be doing great, and then all of a sudden you're like, I think I'm gonna go on Facebook Live, and people were like, did you see their Facebook
Yeah.
Live? What in the world were they talking
Yeah.
about? And where I live, once again, in a small community, that happened recently. And the person running for judge executive, I didn't manage his campaign. There were four people running, and guess who came in fourth? The guy who went on Facebook Live nearly every day. He thought he was
Yeah.
being, transparent. He thought he was being like available, but he was rambling,
Yeah.
and it was just too late
Yeah.
because it's live. So
Great.
people shared it, and it's like, ooh,
You gotta
I'm
be
sure his intentions were there, but I'm sorry,
you gotta be careful, don't you?
very careful.
For sure. Okay, thank you for that. So
You're
my
welcome.
third question is, what qualities make someone a good political candidate?
So, first and foremost, they need thick skin.
Okay.
They need to let things they and very high emotional intelligence. And I'm not sure if you're very familiar with like psychology or any type of study like that, but emotional intelligence is how well do you regulate your self control? How do you react in high stakes situations? You have to allow it when something happens, it has to roll off off your back, or it can't you can't let things get to you, because if you do, you're going to be just like going through quicksand. It's like I'm not getting anywhere. I'm moving and moving and moving and nothing's happening. So you have to be able to operate in a high energy type of situation. So a good political candidate, you're working 14 hours a day or more. You're constantly traveling. Half of the public is going to criticize every single thing that you do. And if you don't have the thick skin, then media and your opposition are going to wear you down.
Yeah.
So, and I don't mean, be hard and be rude or, empathize. You're still a human being, but you have got to learn to ask yourself every day around every corner, okay, how am I going to respond to this? Or am I going to respond to this?
Yeah.
Most of the time it's no, I'm not going to respond at all. It's a smile.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
You want to say bless their heart,
Yeah.
but because we all know what that means when we're really saying that. But a candidate, they also have to be a good listener. So maybe the thing that this person coming at you is saying, maybe you actually have to listen to them, and sometimes you have to say, you know what, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. That is a policy that's messed up and it needs to change. And I agree with you.
Yeah.
And voters can instantly tell that you care about them when you're listening to them. But if you're up on a soapbox and carrying on and not letting them tell you why they're so upset and you're just barking right back at them, nothing happens.
Yeah.
You're right back where you were. So, good listener, thick skin, and being genuine.
Okay. I agree. That was great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so my final question is, how does a candidate usually get support from a political party?
Well, I would say that before you're a candidate getting support from a political party, you should be a member of that political party and you should be someone in the audience.
Okay.
So, and what I mean is before an election even begins, before you even file to run for whatever office it is, and this isn't a small city council, like local level, all the way up to a federal level, you need to establish who you are.
Yeah.
So just remember, you have a reputation to uphold. You have to look in. So if you're wanting to run with a certain party, you need to see what their values are, and they need to see that what you stand for is this. You need to line your values up, right? Line up your ideas and your values. You have to show that party that you're loyal to their values, that you're a viable candidate who can win.
Okay.
So if you are wanting to run for US Senate, you might need to win some local or state elections before, because usually that doesn't happen. You don't just boom become,
Yeah.
a United States senator after you've done nothing for 15 years and you're just like, I think I want to do that. That doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So once a party sees that you're serious, you're organized, that you know how to raise funds, maybe you could be part of a nonprofit or fundraising. It could be not even related to that. Let's say that there's a local charity that you help raise funds for whatever, a food pantry or a children's home or something like that. If you're a part of those types of things, do it because you want to, but also that's your resume you're building.
Yeah.
If you think about it that way, you've got to be hands on, getting your hands dirty a little bit, doing actual work before you're given any kind of thing, especially a political office, because you're representing those people.
Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah, I would say, yeah. How do you get support from a political party? Show that you're a good fundraiser, be involved in the things that they care about, and just show up, be
Okay.
there, be present.
All right. Thank you so much for everything, and thank you for the time, and I've appreciated this.
You're welcome. I'm going to leave you with some advice too, Chloe. So if you remember nothing else from today, remember that politics is a relationship business. It's not a transaction. So don't treat it like, if I give you this, you're going to give me that, and vice versa. Treat it like a relationship, because these campaigns are going to come and go. You're going to win some races and you're going to lose most of the races. But the reputation that you're going to build, the relationships that you build, that's not going to go away. So don't burn bridges, and have some, self control, that type of thing.
Okay.
Because you got to genuinely listen to people too. So don't, when people come to you with problems or issues, or they just want to talk, don't brush them off.
Okay.
Just listen to them. And it doesn't have to be some big important thing either. It could be the time it takes the stoplight to turn red. Well, I
Yeah.
don't like that. Like, well, look into it. Well, wonder why it does take. I have noticed that. I do sit there for a long time. Wonder why, just listen to them. And even if you can't do anything about it, people will appreciate you listening to them, and not coming up with a solution right then and there, but just saying, I hear you.
Yeah.
That's important. I want to come see that. So, and then also, just to keep your sanity, make sure you take some time off
Okay.
for your mental health. for your physical health, for your relationship health. Make sure you're taking care of yourself too. Okay.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.